Well, hello and how are you today? It is a beautiful day on March the 14th, 2022. You think about it, we've already got January, February, and March. That's 3 of the 12 months out of the year that we're already operating in. It is amazing how time flies, whether you have fun or not. But the thing we're going to talk about today on the show is what can we do about some of the things that certain vitamins do for us, and what are they, and are we familiar with them, and are we educated enough to know that they have for us some great benefits. And that's what we're going to do today on Discovering the World of Natural Health from Remedy This Naturally at 1140 Benvenue Road. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to this product, talking about it today, and helping us understand what's going on. One of the things that is important to us, and I've made some notes over here to kind of keep me going. There's a word that I would like to bring up before I begin the broadcast, and that is called integrative, or natural intervention. These things that are happening with things that are used for our benefit. The other thing would be like C, iodine, and that would be, let me go here and go back up, 103, and then the other would be vitamin D, vitamin K, with that, and see if it would make a difference. Okay, I'm going to have to put you on hold. You'll have to call me back. But I had some pictures coming across that I wanted to make sure I had at my exposure to be able to share with you. And I think we're going to talk about the vitamin D. We go back to 60 capsule 165. Oh, there it is, right there. When it comes to that. And talking about vitamin D, while in the past vitamin D was appreciated for its role in maintenance of bone health, more recent evidence suggests it may be a potent immunomodulator. And let's see here. For example, vitamin D deficiency is associated with impaired immune function and increased susceptibility to infections. Now, that would be something I think would be important for to be made aware of, to know that's what it will do. Several lines of evidence suggest vitamin D may help combat herpes. And let's see what else we got here. And D may help combat herpes and shingles breakouts. In one study, dialysis patients who received iron and vitamin D supplementation were less likely to develop shingles outbreak. Vitamin D may also be able to alleviate the pain associated with shingles. In addition, as of the time of this writing, a study was underway to see if vitamin D can contribute to a more robust immune response to shingles vaccination. And so I'm looking up the integrative aspect that could happen with shingles and herpes. Someone asked that question. With regard to herpes outbreak, one group of researchers studied the relationship between vitamin D status and the antibody levels to several viruses, including herpes virus, in children with multiple sclerosis and control. They found that higher amounts of vitamin D levels It done got out of my reach. I've got to bring it in so I can read it. Against HSV2 among children with multiple sclerosis, suggestions increase. Vitamin D levels may allow immune system to better respond to infection. Vitamin D is also able to increase the levels of an immunologic antimicrobial peptide. So those are some of the things that are very important for that. Let me go back to vitamin D in reference to something else. So 1625 is my page number. How y'all doing today? I appreciate you joining me. It's just exciting just to be back in the chair here and talking to you and bringing you up to date on some things that people are concerned about and what they are asking questions about. And to be able to do that integrative information to kind of put the pharmacology and herbology together. And the thing is, they say somewhere around probably 50% of medications are dependent upon plants to make them who they are today. So that's pretty good. Let me get on back. I'm going to the index and just to kind of give you some information about some of these things. Vitamin D is what we're talking about. Excuse me. Sound like I need some of it because it says one of the things that vitamin D is used for is acute bronchitis. And I don't know if you know it or not, but vitamin D is also used in connection with cancer therapy. So there are things that can be used naturally in reference to things that once we hear the word, we get so scared we don't do anything any different. And there is, we are just really in a stressed out society today. And you can't help but be that way. And it's almost like the media wants us to be scared, wants us to hang on every word, wants us to make sure we read every Hey, Chad. Okay. You'll just have to get me there. I was going to talk to him a minute about some things on health and wellness. Vitamin D works with and helps to deal with allergies. And this may seem kind of crazy, but things are kind of getting foggy. We have where we can't think straight anymore. And this is really not a old folks, quote unquote, disease, but we're talking about things like Alzheimer's. And how are they related to vitamin D and what it can do to help with that. And because there is a deficiency, and by that I mean the body has to have what it needs to draw into it to help us have what we need to address the label. And what I mean by label, I mean like if there's a thing called Alzheimer's, if there's a thing called anxiety, anxiousness, anemia, or bronchitis, if there's something called by those names and they've been able to label them, how much study or information is there when it comes to finding out if vitamin D is something that would do some benefit? Have we exhausted, or have we just become interested to say, well, what I am taking for this particular situation that has a name, and I want to be able to get rid of it. I want it to be gone. So what study has been done to show that God's pharmacy would make a difference? And if that's the case, is there something like vitamin D, who they have studies done on, that would help me address that? So I just think that's kind of cool. And what I'm trying to do is spark your interest in looking it up. Google it, find out, okay, what will vitamin D do for me? What will vitamin D help me with in making my body have a more physical, more mental? And if we can get past the mental and the physical, I bet you our spiritual will be a whole lot more in place. It's cool. And we think about, I mean, there is enough on this March the 14th, 2022, that we've got wars going on, we've got health issues or pandemics still going on, we've got things that are quote unquote out of our control and everybody else's, and we just have to put up with them, or we have to wait for someone to get to the point to be the specialist and making recommendation. And then the thing that really gets me is how much things change according to the way the wind is blowing and what needs to be done and what agenda the powers that be want us to be catered to and in tune with. So those are some of the things that kind of get me, so to speak. The vitamin D, I like what it has to say about anxiety, and how about arrhythmia, helping with the cardiovascular. Asthma, there's studies and things that are done with asthma and vitamin D. Bacterial skin infections, vitamin D. Blood disorders, breast cancer and its relationship to vitamin D. How about cancer relationship to vitamin D? And cancer immunotherapy and vitamin D. Cancer radiation therapy and vitamin D. Catabolic wasting, celiac disease, cervical dysplasia, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic inflammation, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chronic pain. Okay? Cirrhosis, colorectal cancer and vitamin D, common cold and vitamin D, depression and vitamin D, diabetes, neurotherapy, and vitamin D. I mean, folks, we're just talking about one vitamin. And look at how many I have named already. And folks, I'm not going to let up with that, just letting you know it's a few. I've got probably another 50 things on this page turned over that is connecting vitamin D to our temple we live in. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to reiterate this. Our ancestors were designed to live and never die. Our ancestors were giving a perfect environment to live in with a perfect appetite for the foods that were in their garden. Our ancestors had everything they needed to live and never die and never be sick. And that is what, as a naturopathic person, as an herbalist, as a person that goes in and I someone told me about this. Said you need to go study about Daniel. Go read your book of Daniel. Go find out what made Daniel in the fiery furnace such a pleasure to read, because it wasn't a bad outcome. It was one of those Hollywood endings where everything was okay. That's what happened in the book of Daniel. And what was their menu that they ate from? Going back to our father and mother from the very beginning of Adam and Eve, we had in that garden everything for them. But it just seems to be we as humans think that we can take something that was created by a perfect being who we made imperfect to make everything all right. Something's wrong there. Something's wrong. Okay? What other? Vitamin D. Endometriosis, endothelial dysfunction, epilepsy, erectile dysfunction, and vitamin D, exercise and vitamin D, eye problems and vitamin D, fibrocystic breast changes and vitamin D, fibromyalgia, vitamin D, fungal skin infections, gallstones and vitamin D. Glioblastoma, hair loss. I should have paid more attention to vitamin D a long time ago. You know? Hair loss, vitamin D. Heart disease and vitamin D. Hepatitis C, vitamin D. Herpes and shingles and vitamin D. High blood pressure, vitamin D. You getting the picture? Vitamin D is important. And I think we need to look into it and see, do some more research and checking it out and see what it will do for us. Got it right there. And they sent me it over, some information. Let me go back and get that up, and I want to check on that. Okay. Yeah, there is a product called vitamin D and K together. And I think we need to look at, and see if there's a relationship and what can happen. All right. If I jump over to vitamin K, will that confuse you a little bit? Everything I've talked about so far has been plain long vitamin D and all the different things it's for. And then what I wanted to do was make sure that you realize that you can put vitamin D and vitamin K together. And because see, vitamin D, did I not say a while ago that it's an adjunct to cancer therapy? And then vitamin K does the same thing. And vitamin K in arteriosclerosis and cardiovascular disease and blood clotting mechanisms, celiac disease, cirrhosis, and endothelial dysfunction, vitamin K in exercise, vitamin K in high blood pressure control, vitamin K in inflammatory bowel disease, osteoporosis and vitamin K, osteoporosis, and some more information on that, pancreatic cancer, prevention, warfarin, and vitamin K. So those are some things that can go along with, and it is amazing that you could actually put vitamin K, vitamin D in a product. And let me just blow it up a little bit here so I can have it in my fingertips. There we go. The ingredients are vitamin D and vitamin K activity from vitamin K1, vitamin K2, and then from iodine complex, organic kelp and bladderwrack, potassium, iodine. Those are things that can help us to, I think personally, give a better quality of life, and doing it in a form of an integrative nature and being able to put it together for that purpose. So that would be something I think would be important, that I'm able to take my vitamin D, my vitamin K with C iodine, and I like that. Now, one of the things that we are aware of is that we trust iodine to help our thyroid. And golly, what about the importance of the thyroid? What in the world does it do? See how I get so doggone excited when I start chasing down a rabbit, see where it went, and find out what it is. What's the relationship between how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, how I share knowledge and information that has to do with the integrative nature of God's pharmacy and man's pharmacy. And there's a difference. There's a great big difference. And the difference is that man still is trying to correct things in our mindset. And I want to be able to say, bring it on down, Heavenly Father. And what is it with your mindset, God, that's supposed to be in our mindset, God, that will take care of the temple we live in? You know, the temple that we have to offer the Holy Spirit to live in is right within our flesh and blood. And that's what's so cool about it. It is just so doggone cool. So when I'm sharing with you that I got so excited, and I'll tell you why I got excited. People are fearful of Russia, and Russia making another Chernobyl with radiation expanding and covering us and causing it the thyroid to malfunction because it uses up the iodine and things that we need to have. Folks, God knew that there would be individuals in the human realm that would want to be able to rob, steal, and destroy from God's creation of his special people. And therefore, they said, hey, I'm going to knock them off. I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to find a way to help those people die prematurely. And if we knew, just say, for example, if we had a God in our prayer time, he whispered into our soul, our mind, our spirit, and he says, hey, you're my obedient child. You need to know about vitamin D. You need to know about vitamin K. You need to know about iodine. These things can help you have a better quality of life. I mean, if both of them, just for example, and I don't talk about cancer. I talk about abnormal cells. So, and in the book here, written by these doctors, they talk about the cancer stuff. Me, I'm just looking to say, where is their wellness? What do we got to do to stay well? What is important for us to focus on? I say, first of all, let me back up a moment. And I'm talking about product. I'm talking about something that is very important. For us to know why they were created. And for man in the chemistry lab and studying stuff found out, hey, if we do these studies and we use vitamin K, if we use these studies and use iodine, if we use these studies and vitamin D, and individually, they're important. Now, I'm just wondering, is that story that was told me about how strength and how to make sure that if you're depending on a rope, you just don't use one strand of rope. You take 3 strands and you weave them and wove them together. And they can take and just say, the one rope by itself could do 100 pounds. 3 together should do 300, but more than likely it will do 600. Because the way things are structured, the way our body is structured, the way our mind, soul, and spirit are structured, what is it that I can do that was set aside for my ancestors in the Garden of Eden? What is it that the gate was blocked and they were not allowed to go back in? You know, we've referred to it in our day and time as getting kicked to the curb. You know, no significance that it's going to be benefiting us. But if I can understand and I can pay attention and I can look at all the different science that has been done to help us have a better quality of life, then I should do it. I should learn. I should want to know how I can live my next 30 years. Yeah. I said, I better get started for my next 30 years because I've got to make changes, because I'm learning more about prevention. I'm learning more about immunology. I'm learning more about, thus saith the Lord, if my people will humble themselves and call on my name, I will hear from heaven and I will pour out my blessings and they will be healed and they will be able to understand and be at peace. Yeah. I was listening and the voice said, if my people, stipulation that we first show sincerity that God's will and purpose be done. Yes. I'm going to read you some more of these things about vitamin D and what it does. D. We talked about, no, we hadn't got that far. Yeah, I'll just repeat a couple of these, especially for you men that have issues that, what about erectile dysfunction? Vitamin D is beneficial. Exercise. If you're exercising, what's the importance of vitamin D in your exercise routine? eye problems in vitamin D. Fibrocystic breast changes and vitamin D. Fibromyalgia, fungal skin infection, gallstones, global blastomia and vitamin D. Hair loss, yeah, we know, we talked about that, but I joked a little bit about it as, yeah, I should have had vitamin D a long time ago. Heart disease and vitamin D. Hepatitis C and vitamin D. Herpes and shingles and vitamin D. High blood pressure and vitamin D. HIV and AIDS. You know, I can remember when this all came about, 60s, 70s. And I remember there was a doctor in California, and she finally got them to, if a person had AIDS, that the doctor could be able to use a shield to make sure no blood got on them. Human papillomavirus, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, immune sense, inflammatory bowel disease, inflammatory skin disorders, influenza, kidneys, leukemia. Now, all of these things wouldn't be talked about unless there's something positive about it, something to make the integrative nature of this beneficial. Lung cancer, lymphoma, menopause. You know, not to be a real smart butt, but a long time ago, you're talking about menopause, and the person says, no, we need to relabel that. It's not menopause, but it's womanopause, and just somebody trying to be a little smart aleck. Multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, myasthenia gravis, oral health for the teeth, organ transplantations, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, anyway, to do with the bones, pancreatic cancer, cancer more than one, there's several different references for that, Parkinson's disease, pneumonia, polycystic ovary syndrome, premenstrual syndrome. And if you just join what I'm doing, I'm just making a list, sharing with you the positive, natural approach that God has for these things that are labeled in the medical profession. So prostate cancer, prostate prevention, prostate-specific antigen, psoriasis, Raynaud, rheumatoid arthritis, scleroderma, Sjögren's syndrome, and skin, hair, and nail health, skin health, skin disorder, skin growths, sleep apnea, smoke prevention, surgery prevention. So, okay. Testosterone levels, let's see what it is here. Type of 2.
Hello?
Barbara, I'm in the middle of a TV show. I thought I hit the button to reject you, but I didn't, so can I call you back when I get done? Okay, thank you. And then vitamin deficiency and anemia. And then vitamin E has just about as many benefits as vitamin D. Then we talked about vitamin K. Then we talked about a multivitamin and mineral. So my question would be, if I can take all these different vitamins and just talk about one and what it does, and if I were to take and get myself a multivitamin that is made as best it can from natural ingredients, then I think that would be something that has a benefit. Because I look and I went and checked. There's a vitamin A. Okay, what about vitamin A? What about vitamin B group? You know, when you got to the vitamin B group, wow. And then the vitamin C and the vitamin D and vitamin E, vitamin K. You know, those things are there to help us have a better quality of life. So, I think it's important. And to know that vitamin D, vitamin K, iodine are important for us to have in our system. So, let me go back here and let me see what the other book has to say about that. And let's see if it has anything to do. Vitamin C, vitamin 12. And if there's something, okay, and let me see if I can find that GHI, page 121. I'm going to flip over there. Okay. This one here is talking about C iodine is an essential. It didn't say necessary. It said essential health promoting trace mineral. Its primary biological role lies in supporting the production of thyroid hormones. C iodine, here we've got, get 1,000 micrograms, gluten-free, vegetarian. So that's something that may be of importance to, especially to me, I don't know. And because it is, I have a responsibility to share this knowledge with you. So, let me go back and look at my notes where I was supposed to go from here. Yeah. And I think something you may want to look into, just come in and ask us about the C iodine, the vitamin D, vitamin K. Those three items are put together for the benefit of that rope I started talking about a while ago. Let me go back over here. And, okay, which one have I got here? I've got, yeah. Okay, C iodine. Okay, there's actually two different products that there's the vitamin D and K with C iodine, and then there's C iodine by itself. So that's something you may want to look into, see if it would be something that would benefit you. I love my kelp, and let's see how this, oh, it can't turn something around that's on this picture. But with the uncertainty in our life and our well-being, I think we should make sure we have what we need to protect ourselves. Okay? And there are certain things. I look at N-acetyl L-cysteine, and it's easily absorbed nutrient with robust benefits for the bronchial, respiratory, liver, and immune health. Now, doesn't that kind of strike a bell to you? It does. It does to me, in that the N-acetylcysteine benefits and promotes the healthy levels of antioxidants, glutathione, supports immune system and liver health, promotes bronchial and respiratory health, and that's N-acetylcysteine. And so that would be in something like the liver. What's the liver do? What's the purpose of the liver? How does it support us in what we're doing with our life and our health, and doing it naturally? Okay? I done bumped right along through there, and I think every woman, in my opinion, should look at the benefits of iodine when it comes to fibrocystic breast changes, thyroid function, and iodine, what it can do for us. Then the vitamin K and the vitamin D. It's just, we need it. We need to know about it, and we need to know that it has preventative and it has things that could be used in the moment of somebody hitting the wrong button and causing us to have a nuclear meltdown. So that's something that is important. Okay. I had something, hold on. See what else I got here. Hold on, this is good. I appreciate you guys being patient with me, helping me understand. Let's see what this one is. Okay, this is recommended 1 tablet, and it has 1,000 micrograms, that's 667% of iodine that's needed or recommended. It has a blend of organic kelp and bladderwrack and potassium iodide. And that's good stuff. Good stuff. You didn't believe me. Okay. Want me to go back, and I need to do, but I'm going to go back to vitamin B. And the reason I'm going back to vitamin B is because it has to do with stress. Okay. And the stress vitamin. There's vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin B. Okay. Vitamin B, people that are, most of the times you just hear about vitamin B when it's related to someone that's a vegan or vegetarian, that meat is what they need in order to get to B12. Or you can take it in a little tablet form. But vitamin B group, an adjunct cancer therapy, okay? Adrenal disorders, age-related cognitive decline. Baby, we got so many things trying to clog up this brain up here. I am more than happy to see if I can take a B supplement to help with these disorders of my stinking thinking. Age-related microcellular degeneration, alcohol use. If you're going to drink the alcohol, please don't leave out the vitamin B group. Alzheimer's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, in other words, ALS, Alzheimer's disease, anemia, anxiety, and most of us are aware. One of the first things I was told about vitamin B, that is what fights off the anxiety, the fear, the stress. And if we'll just take and use the anxiety go away by using a B vitamin, it's important. And it's been told to me that if I'm taking a vitamin B12, then I should also take a vitamin B complex. When it comes to the vitamin Bs, it's been recommended that you put all of them together that you need, and then you take the one that is deficient or you're needing more of, and take that along with your vitamin complex, B complex. So I thought that was good knowledge and information. Bell's palsy, blood disorders. Here we go. When it comes into vitamin B, when it comes with cancer radiation therapy, carpal tunnel syndrome, cataracts and vitamin B deficiency, celiac disease, cervical dysplasia, chronic fatigue and syndrome, chronic pain, chronic stress, cirrhosis, colorectal cancer. Do you notice that when we're talking about, and I started out today on vitamin D, and then vitamin K, and then iodine, and then we jumped over here, and I wanted to just show you how vitamin B jumps in and plays in to the role. And the vitamin B is amazing at how many things it benefits. So if we can take a multivitamin supplement and get minerals with it as well, then I believe, I just really, really believe that the creator who did the genus garden is well aware of what you and I need. Therefore, he can't help but loving us dummies, because he realized there's a weakness we have. And that weakness is we want to be God. So he says, okay, let me do this for you guys. Let me just show you all the different things, the vitamin D, the vitamin K, the iodine, the vitamin A and B, that we can take that. And if you're going to take that, got a good multivitamin, very much so at Remedy This. And what's it going to take? And if you can see, I want to show you the overlap, the lap between what this individual vitamin mineral has and what it does collectively. There we go back to the rope again, being more powerful when it's braided together and stronger when it's tied in and made strong. So in the B group, you know, that I can continue chronic stress, and that to me, folks, I believe for the last 2 years, we have been called upon to be God Almighty to take care of the situations that's been gone. And this has hurt all of us. We've lost our communication. We've hidden our face. We have been robbed of the ability to be able to be individuals and be able to understand what God's purpose is versus what man's objective is. And I just throw that out just to say that I know for a fact that you're hurting, I'm hurting, we're all hurting because man knocked his head against the wall and it just didn't do nothing but give him a headache. So give yourself the benefit of healing just by taking something as simple as a B complex and use it for depression, use it for problems that we have within our mind, our soul, and our spirit, our heart. Let's get back to the foundation of our health. And our health comes from the one, in my opinion, that made us. We're made in the image and likeness of God. You say, well, Claiborne, you're just talking scripture. Yeah, definitely am. Because it has the power to heal. And what are we talking about? And why are we having natural remedies? We need to be able to talk about it. We need to be able to give it to best it's got. I'm challenging you to look into. Stop by and talk to us about the vitamins, the minerals, the supplements, the things that help us just realize there is a master plan by God Himself to make us whole and have the best quality of life we can have. To wrap it up in the next 3 minutes, I challenge you to give your body the chance to have prevention intervene in what you're doing. Prevention is the answer. Prevention is the healer. Let's don't wait until we get to the point of I can't get out of bed. I hurt. I've been diagnosed with. What is it going to take us to do to prevention? What vitamin, what mineral, what supplement, what of the ones in the earth, if God used the earth as the foundation of our being, that means we have the vitamins, the mineral, the supplements in the dirt, and we can have plants that are drawing their roots down into the earth, bringing up the healing power of the food and putting it out there in plants where we can use it for our healing and our well-being. That's what I like doing. That's what I like talking about. Prevention. What about B vitamin? What about an A vitamin? What about a D and a E, a K? What about them? They can make a difference in our life and our health and do it that way. I challenge you to seek out Remedy This Naturally and look at what's on the shelf that we're trying to say, what would our Heavenly Father recommend I do for myself physically, mentally, spiritually, financially? He made us in His likeness and His image. I've got a beautiful belief that He can give us an answer to come through that. So until we meet again, I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman, from Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road. May good health be yours, Until we meet back.